thing. The people who are part of Kailasas everywhere, wanting to be a part of it. Is there anybody to even answer their phone calls? Because the people who could do were purposely and cunningly and strategically displaced. Now, the team which was to handle the crisis is spread in 10 different places. And the anti-Hindu elements and the new Hindu militants literally rip apart Hindu organization, knowing that Supreme Pontiff is the last lamp of Hinduism. And this organization and Kailasa is the only hope for humanity and the only hope to keep the Enlightenment civilization alive. An organization which has its foundation principles on ahimsa and non-violence. This was what was done to us. And the reason why I'm sharing this, dear viewers, is we need to know it's not just about sannyasis, staying somewhere else for a few days and coming back. No, the entire organization is in crisis now. The attack is happening from all corners. How do we handle it? And the people who were to handle are displaced themselves, running to find out where they can be safe, where they can be protected. Yes, Ma Bhakti Swami, please continue.
Yes, Ma. And my Anatma Swami, these particular few days I'm describing now, it was a complete focus on where we can be to remain alive because of the nature of the attack coming from media and all other quarters, which we don't even know what these quarters are. We only know we're being attacked, right? So the whole focus was on, we don't know where Swamiji is and what has happened to Swamiji, and we have to keep ourselves alive. Only these two thoughts are going on in the head continuously. Where is Swamiji? What is happening to him? And how do we remain alive? Right? So we told Ma Achala Swami's pre-monastic mother, Amma, we are just going to go out and we'll be back. Okay, she needed that. Only then she's even going to let us go out. Okay, so we just told her that. But already Ma Achala and myself had offloaded a few more things in her house because it was too much to carry. And we wanted to be lighter, right? We didn't know what was awaiting us. And so we took very, very bare minimum again in the backpack and we left her house. Her father was continuously watching the media in the drawing room, and really divine grace, they allowed us to move. They could have very well said, no, you cannot move now. You have to be inside, right? Just it happened and we went out. That's it. Never to go back again. We went, and then where to go? We just stepped out on the streets. And on top of our ochre robes, we were wearing color clothes. If you have to remain alive and you need to serve the people and you need to retain your sannyas vows, what do? On top of our ochre robes, we were wearing the color clothes. And even that media picked up, and they would flash us, and the headlines would be Rang Rang Rangila. Rangila means like, colors. Oh, you know what? All the sannyasis are wearing color clothes. People outside don't know we are wearing color clothes to save our lives. And we are wearing our kavis inside. We are wearing the ochre inside. Every single fight for our life was twisted by media, and we were made to. They made it appear as though the sannyasis are having a good time wearing color clothes, making use of the situation. Whereas here, we are fighting to remain alive and still preserving our sannyas vows and wearing the color clothes on top of our kavi clothes and looking around how to remain alive. So we stepped onto the street and we just wanted to appear as though, all was well, and we just kept walking where we don't know. That was the first time, Anatma Swami. It's like you just don't have a place. You don't know where you should go. You're just on the streets. Means you're just on the streets. That's all. There is no place. Your home is burning. There is no place. And you are afraid to talk to anybody. Afraid only for one reason. That we might not be able to remain alive to continue God's own mission. No other fear was there, mind you. That is the success and the greatness of our beloved Bhagavan on each one of us sannyasis. We did not have a fear for our life in the real sense of fear of life. Our fear was we wanted to still be alive, to be part of God's own mission and continue with Sanatana Hindu Dharma. That was the only fear. It was not the mundane fear of life. We had lived enough with Bhagavan for him to transmit that ultimate powerfulness in us. And it worked. It worked on the face of real life and death situation. Ma Achala and I can write a book on just those few days and help people understand Hinduism is real, Hindu. And when you're presented with a life and death situation, the Hindu truths work and incarnations are real, Paramashiva is real. And when Paramashiva happens, you can test any truth of Hinduism you want, it works. So we were out on the streets. Where we were going, we don't know. And suddenly, Ma Achala and I had nothing to do. There was nothing to do. We were waiting to get some news through our small devices. And another fear at that time was, what should happen to our devices? It is running out of charge. The only thing we wanted to do at that point in time was how to keep our cell phones alive. That was the only strategy we did. We could only do one step at a time, because first we had to have our devices to keep in touch with each other. In Adi Kailash, cell phones. And at that time, so many years back, we did not have such advanced cell phones either. So, hear you very loudly.
Sorry, Mom. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the leader of the entire community, was exiled from his home. You all, his disciples, the members of the community were forced out onto the streets, displaced from your homes. Then, even though you were in hiding, you were still being attacked. So at this time, what was it that made you come back and be able to come back to the Adinam despite facing so much of attack and so much of insecurity and instability?
Ma, when you have experienced truths for yourself, then you don't need the support of anything else, and you will stand for it and you will want to be associated only with it, come what may. Like I was just sharing with you, Ma, those few days will forever, till the rest of our lives, be the single thing I will recount to anyone who has a question about Paramashiva, about incarnations, about Hindu Dharma, and about the teachings and truths of Hindu Dharma. Your question is, what made you come back? Only these four things: that Swamiji is Paramashiva, and the strength of his teachings, and what he had transmitted to us. I'm using the word transmission because unless it is a transmission of light, this depth of cognition and the courage would never have come upon any of us. So it is nothing but the purity, the depth, and the realness of Paramashiva, Swamiji as the incarnation, his teachings, and the mission. Swamiji's mission, which is so sincere, real, and Ma, when you've lived something, you don't need any other support. Just the strength of your life is enough. So the answer to your question is, the strength of the life we lived with Swamiji prior to the attack is what saw us through the days of the attack every time, not just in 2010. Every year the attack happened. Every instance the attack happened. Purely the strength of the truths of Sanatana Hindu Dharma and the transmission, the initiation, the transmission from Swamiji as the incarnation to us. Only that has seen us through. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Because of the strength of your experience and because you were able to seek refuge in a safe place and return to the Adinam, you were able to continue your life. Unfortunately, not all of the female sannyasis, the children, the monks that were in the Adinam at that time were fortunate enough to be in such a situation to seek refuge in a safe place and return back to their homes. Can you explain a little bit more about that, Ma?
Actually, what happened, Ma, there were a junior rung of sannyasis also, right? Who are in their probationary vows period. Okay. So we had to take at least that one spot decision at that time because we were so many women, we had to take the one decision that our senior rung would split as pairs and keep ourselves alive wherever, okay? So that we could stay from wherever we are, function and regroup, okay, with God's grace. While the junior rung, we told them, look, just go back to your pre-monastic homes for a few days. We promise you that we will call you the moment Adi Kailash comes back to some level of safety. Because right now the storm is raging. We don't know what we are against. We have not harmed anybody, right? Just because we've been serving. And there are some vested interest people who don't want the service to continue. Things are happening. But your lives are very important for two reasons. One is you need to be available to continue your life in the path that you want and serve the people and live with your guru. And second, your pre-monastic families, they know you're in the probationary period. So they're going to be very, very, very concerned. And that is now the safest place for you right now. We had to take a very practical decision, balancing the entire scene that junior, and they did not move. So of course, so many of them are here today, right? But I still remember they cried and cried saying, why? You take one junior with each of you and go. If Ma Achala and you is going, one of us will come with you. What is the problem? If you can face it, we can face it. But you know, Ma, the tough decision at that time was, while the like us, we for anything, right? While we were ready to take on the responsibility for our lives, somewhere at that point, on the one side, taking these juniors along, because if we die, then they die along with us, but they wanted to put their lives down. That was the fair part to drag them onto the streets. We were torn between the strength of their sannyas and somewhere, feeling that when there is an alternative for them, temporarily at least, why drag them onto the streets where life was not assured? So we took the tough decision and we literally begged them and said, very soon we're all going to regroup. We will see this through, guys. Just be out there for some time. We will call you the moment we feel things are safe again. Yes, Ma, you were saying something.
I was just wanting to reiterate.
Ma, Purna Prema, we are not able to hear you very clearly, Ma.
Yes, Ma, your volume is a bit low.
Sorry, Ma. I was just saying that the situation was just too unstable for the younger group, the more vulnerable people in the community at that time to be staying with the Adinam and continuing to remain within their identity as the ASMT community member, because the situation was too unstable, it was too insecure. So they were forced to disidentify from the community just for their own security, their own safety. I've heard, Ma, that many other females who were forced out on the streets were attacked actually that night. Can you share a little bit about that?
as women, you know what additional things we're up against, right? Which was one of the key reasons that we did not want to drag the younger ones onto the street. Because if we had to fight, then we didn't want, this our energy to be diverting into anything else that might happen if we take the younger ones along. You know what I'm talking about, right? Women getting raped, which happened at that time. So that was another main reason why we decided we will not take them onto the streets with us. Because in front of our own eyes, our own home in Adi Kailash in Bangalore, so much abuse was happening. So many of our own female sannyasis, they were getting violated. And we just didn't know what more is going to happen to us. And this whole, and the whole thing was, we didn't know what the next scenes is going to be, right? We just didn't know what else might come on our heads, because we've only seen this in movies. And in movies, someone else is doing it. Even if you're emotionally involved, you're not strategizing, right? He's got the conclusion in his hands. You're only watching. You're not strategizing. And if it's happening in your own life, then you have no clue how to deal with it, right? So women getting raped, I've not even spoken those sentences before in my life at that point in time, right? So in really gory forms. And at the bottom of this all, in my heart and in the heart of each one of us, where is Swamiji? What is happening to him? Where is Swamiji? What is happening to him? And we could just feel, the connection, of course, which was our only, which was the only thing that kept the heart beating, right? Our connection and the strength of that connection to the truth, that is Swamiji, right? That is the only thread that connected the entire group together, made us survive, come back, live gloriously, face all the attacks. And today it has culminated as the Kailasa nation itself. And when Achalama and myself stepped out, like I was telling you, we only had to keep our cell phones alive. That was the only strategy we could do at that point in time, because we were marking time for authentic news to come from our own people, what else is happening to us and what else needs to be done. So we had to charge our cell phones. So suddenly, I told Ma Achala, shall we just go to some temple? Because that's the only thing we know that will make it happen. It will take care of everything. Let us just find some temple. What worse can happen to us? They'll kill us. We're ready for it. That's it. We died for the truth. That's all. So it was around afternoon time, and we decided, fine, let's go to a temple. And she said, she's basically from Bangalore, so she knows Bangalore pretty well. So she said, I know there's a Shiva temple here. Let's go there. So then it was around afternoon time. And like you know, temples are closed in the afternoon. They open again back only at about 4 o'clock. So we said, never mind. We'll sit at the doorstep of the temple. So we sat there, the two of us. No conversation happened. We just sat. It was just at the edge of the cliff. We just didn't know what was going to happen next. And suddenly what happened? An old lady came limping from inside the temple. And she was calling out the names of a dog and a cat. And she told us, oh, I came to feed this dog and cat. You know, they come for food every day. And she opened the gate. Okay, at that time when the temple was supposed to be closed. And then we asked her, Amma, is it okay if we sit inside the temple now? She said, fine, come. You know, you very well know when the temples are closed, you know, for that period of time, generally you're not allowed inside. You have to wait till 4 o'clock, right? She allowed us in, and immediately both of us knew. See, if it is true, then it is true. It's happening. There is a God, and this is God's own mission. Swamiji will guide us every step. This itself is God answering our call. And we went inside, and it was a Shiva temple. There was a Shivalinga there, and we went and sat there, just in front of the Shivalinga. Of course, the door was closed. Through the grill, we could see the Shivalinga. And we said, now come on, Achala, we need to charge our cell phones. And you won't believe it. We just looked up, and there was this huge array, sockets, only sockets in a huge wooden board, right? And Achala and myself grabbed our cell phones. And yes, Ma?
So,
I was just saying, in a temple, seeing that kind of a huge array of wooden board of charging plug points is not a common scene that we see in a Hindu temple.
Exactly. Right? That's what I was coming to tell, Ma. There was this huge, extraordinarily, in a temple, such a big, only sockets. It was like, Paramashiva was just giving it to us, showering on us, right? We immediately put our hands into the backpack, pulled out the cell phones and charged it. Put it for charging and just sat there and said, oh Lord, we're surrendering to you. We don't know where you are. We don't know where you are, Swamiji, we don't know where you are. And all we know is we want to charge our cell phones so that we can remain alive and remain connected to the group. We can't think of anything beyond that right now. This is our strategy for now. Stay alive and keep the cell phone charged. We charged. And then what happened? We didn't want to stay too long in any place because we didn't know who was watching us. We didn't know what we were up against. And it was so venomous, the whole scene. So immediately we said, Achala, once the cell phone is charged, let's move. Let's not stay here too long, because once a temple opens, people are going to start coming in. And we don't want to be sitting in one place and people being able to see us. We want to be roaming around so people will not be noticing our faces, because we have been flashed a lot on television. So once we felt our cell phones were charged enough, we got up. Yes, Ma.
I just was sorry to interrupt, Ma, but I just wanted to, as you were sharing, it just occurred to me. In a peak of crisis where you have just been displaced, and if you see how women, especially women who are displaced, they go through so much of mental trauma. They go through panic attacks. They go through so much of suffering and pain, and they are not even able to think what they need to do. Women go through so much of trauma and stress when they are displaced. And there are so many research articles and books, and the women who are displaced themselves have come out and shared how it was. And even now thinking about it, they have so much of that painful memories that they have during the traumatic period when they were forcibly displaced. And here I'm hearing the story of the women of Kailasa, the disciples of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, displaced, don't know where to go, sitting at the footstep of a temple and, just entering a temple and thinking about, what, we need to charge our phones to be available. We need to charge our phones to decide what we need to do next. How else we can contribute to the society? How can we attend to the situation, the larger situation that is happening around us? It's just impossible for a woman in that situation to even cognize. All a woman, a normal woman would be thinking when she or he, when she is displaced, is how can I save my life? Where am I going to stay next? Where my next meal is going to be? Where am I going to be safe? Is my life going to be okay? That's all women can think about. And this is not to, this is all we are. This is how we as humans are made to, first of all, we can think, okay, my life is in danger. Let me protect myself. But here, the thought current that Swamiji has instilled in each and every one of us, at any point in time, always be available, be contributing to the society, even at the time when you are displaced, even at the time where you do not know where your next meal is going to be or where your next place of residence is going to be. You are thinking about being available to people, being available to the society. This is exactly what the Supreme Pontiff has inculcated in us, that even at the time of crisis, not when we are in the monastery, when we have all the infrastructure, when you do not have anything, when you are stripped of everything, and there is so much of uncertainty that around you, even at that time, we are only thinking of how can I be available? How can I be contributing? This is what I want to share. It brings even in that moment of crisis. Yes, ma.
Yes, ma. Ma Nyanatma Swami, at the time, Ma Achala and I were just just on the streets, not knowing where to go, no home, and waiting for some miracle call to come to us. Like I was telling you, we were, at that temple, and then there was that one caretaker of the temple lying down. Okay, it was his resting time. Okay, so we just told him, Ayya, can you let us out? Because they had once again locked the gate. So once we knew our cell phones were charged enough, we said, Ayya, can you please let us out? You know what he did? He was lying down. If I think back in those scenes, I feel he was actually just Paramashiva lying down there. He doesn't even know who we are. He took his key from his trouser pocket without even turning and looking at us. He just threw the key, slid the key on the floor. He was lying down on the floor. He slid the key on the floor and said, here, take the key. Go open the gate, go out, and just throw the key back in. How would he do that to strangers? It was like, a leela in front of our eyes, even in those dire circumstances. He just slid the slide on the floor and said, here, go out of the temple and lock, and you yourself throw the key back into the temple. So Machila and I just looked at each other.
When you were sharing this, what reminds me? See, even though the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was himself had to, somehow we have to keep the physical body of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism safe and alive, and at that time, and so much of attack and assassination attempts going on, every moment, Swamiji makes us feel he is there with us. Yes. I don't know how to, that if you're watching us live, and I have experienced it, 1,000 times in my life, I don't know, thousands of times, and I'm sure Bhaktika Swami also. It is not that, yes, we were stranded, but we were not. Yes, we were displaced, yet we were not. That is how Swamiji held us internally. If we could act differently at that time, if we could not collapse and cry and think of, having suicidal thoughts and going into depression and drugs and whatnot, if we could be stable mentally, psychologically, if we were able to even think and be a part of this whole grand mission, it is because of the inner software that Swamiji has installed in each and every one of us. And never once any of us felt stranded. Never once any of us felt Swamiji was not there with us. In some way, Swamiji will tell us and will make us experience that miracle. Will make us experience that I am there for you. When you were sharing this, Bhaktika Swami, that was what the click that I'm getting. He just makes us feel at every moment, whether that woman coming out of the temple and taking you in, or this man giving the key, or this huge, this panel of sockets, that exactly what you needed. Everything is a way that Swamiji is telling you, you both are not alone. I am there with you.
Absolutely. Nithyananda Swami, I'm what I'm telling, and able to see it from, so many different perspectives. I am just telling you life as it happened, and you're able to, bring out so many perspectives from it, right? At no point in time, we felt, it was just completely utter insecurity, right? You don't know, you don't have a home. You don't have a home. You're a woman. You're a sannyasi. So, even at that time, like you were saying, the concern was where and what is happening to Swamiji, and how do we continue, right? So what we did, we took the key from the floor, okay, and then we went out and we locked and threw it inside, and we moved. Our cell phones were charged. We started moving, and we started choosing roads which were not so crowded. So we were just walking. It was so different because you're used to going for an evening walk. Even evening walk, where you're going and where you're going to come back to, and the timing. It's a half-an-hour walk. That walk, those couple of walks I had with Ma Achala, I will never forget, because in those walks, we didn't know where we were going, and we didn't know whether we would return, and we didn't know which road to take. It is just at the peak of insecurity for us, that's all. So we went, and we started walking around. And at that time, there was not much strategizing to do. We suddenly broke off into memories with Swamiji. Ma Achala started sharing so many things that Swamiji has told her directly. And I started sharing so many things that I've heard directly from Swamiji. And we just started recalling just disconnected, isolated incidents, exchanges with Bhagwan. And we just continued to walk. And both of us we're from publications department, like you know. So then we were discussing. So I was telling Achala, Ma Achala, we don't know where Bhagwan is. We don't know what has happened to him. But Bhagwan has spoken thousands of hours. He has spoken at least 12,000 hours at that point in time. And you and I are in charge of publications. We will, irrespective, independent of what is happening to Bhagwan, we will not let those 12,000 hours go anywhere. We will start something on our own if we survive. And we will bring out Bhagwan's teachings to the world. And let us do what we can. This is the kind of conversations we're having. We know how much truth Bhagwan has delivered in the 12,000 hours. And we know we will forever be part of the mission. Whatever may happen to the mission, in whatever form it's going to happen after this, whether it's going to happen, we don't know. But you and I know better than anyone else, those 12,000 hours are there. And we need to reach that to the people. So whatever it takes, we'll even set up a small office. Anatma Swami, we started talking so many things because we don't know what the next minute is going to be. And we don't know what happened to Bhagwan. So we are talking so many things. We're strategizing in so many different directions about the 12,000 hours of Bhagwan's talks. How we can even set up a small arrangement from where we can make this available to the people, the truths to the people. All these conversations we are having, and then suddenly when we come to a quiet spot on the road under a subway or something, we would just sit there and rest our feet a bit. And we would hope that there would be some call on our cell phone. There would be that miracle call that would come saying, guys, we're regrouping. If not in Adi Kailash, in some other alternate location where at least we can be together safely and strategize together safely. We were waiting for the miracle call and it came. Because there was no other expectation for us on that particular day. The only expectation was the phone to ring, and it rang. And we got a call saying, you come back and there is another alternate location. Let's regroup there. It seems to be safe. So all the pairs that split, we came back and we were in that location. And we started putting our heads together about the ABCD of what's going on. So that was the next scene. If I think of if I just think back of those days, it is worse than even some of the movies I've seen. And I can't even believe today, actually, I've moved through all those scenes. Such a large group survived it. And like Ma Punapriya was asking, what was it that made you survive and what was it that made you come back? Very simple. Sanatana Hindu Dharma, that it is true, it works, Paramashiva is real, and incarnations do happen even in modern times. And when they happen and they come as your guru, their teachings are real, and you can put it to acid test and you will emerge successful. So these are the only things that I will share forever and ever and ever with real life experiences to stand by it.
And at this time, Muktika Swami, when the efforts of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in bringing out the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the persecution of the women of Kailasa and the persecution of all the sannyasis, relentless efforts. I'm sure, you know more than me. The number of media houses that we have knocked at and the number of police stations we have gone through, number of courts that we have gone, and the human rights avenues that we have approached, so many things over the last 10 plus years of this relentless persecution. And today, the efforts of the Supreme Council of Hinduism have come to fruition with the attack and the persecution that Swamiji and all of us went through is coming to light in the international community. So how does you as monastic member of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa and somebody who has been in the center of this whole persecution and been through it before, during, and after, how does it feel when we realize that the efforts of the Supreme Council of Hinduism in bringing this to limelight has finally come to fruition?
Like I told, something which cannot even be described, the hard work of Swamiji, right? Simple hard work, which can never be described enough. The result of that, the culmination of that happens every minute. His effort is in building individuals and reaching the masses, both at the same time. Building individuals means making individuals live enlightenment. And from whatever sharing I've done the past half an hour, I cannot find a more classic example than that as a direct testimony of the fruition of Bhagwan's untiring efforts. Because if two female sannyasis can survive what happened in 2010 and survive that life on the streets and be available today to share this with people, then nothing can be greater testimony to that. Nothing can be greater testimony to Bhagwan's efforts on individuals. And Bhagwan's reach to the masses in the infinite dimensions. There are people living today because of Bhagwan. They have been given life when the entire medical fraternity has washed its hands off. Thousands of cancers have survived. Why? Our own Shri Nithya Sevananda. Leading hospitals washed their hands off him, and he had a cancerous tumor. And he has been living 19 years with Swamiji. The doctors told him that you will not be able to sit for more than a few minutes for the rest of your life. And he has served as the, as such a enricher of people with the truths. And he has been sitting for hours together, connecting to people, completely defying the predictions of the scientific community. So Bhagwan's untiring efforts in be it healing, giving life to people. Giving life means, actual life, where you stop people from dying, right? That life, raw life, physical life, not life as in, emotional flowering and all. That is all next, coming up next. Raw life to people and the living enlightenment dimension for people, and for people who want just to see economic prosperity in their life. That coming out true for them. And they realizing that for economic prosperity also, your roots are in the spiritual truths. And if you adhere to it, you can see exponential growth compared to your mundane efforts in just the materialistic zones. So the efforts of Bhagwan on the masses and on individuals has happened across the span of his 43 years on planet Earth as the incarnation who's come down as the Guru in infinite dimensions for the people. If we can just bring those people to this forum and make them share, which we have been doing, but there are millions out there who've not yet made it to this platform, who've been given life, who've been given economic prosperity, who've been given living enlightenment as a lifestyle, and who have tested the truths and they've experienced it for themselves. So many millions have not yet come to this platform yet. So really, Niman and Atma Swami, it's too huge a story to tell the day by day with Bhagwan and what is being uploaded in Nithyanandapedia, nithyanandapedia.org today, as Day by Day with Bhagavan, the colossal work that's still continuing, can only start telling the volumes about the simple hard work of Bhagavan. If one just goes into nithyanandapedia.org and they start seeing day by day, it will hit them the hard work you're just talking about, because it is just much larger than life itself. One will not be able to believe, one will not be able to believe that this is not possible by a normal human being. This is possible only by a divine being. Nithyanandapedia.org will help people understand that. Especially when we start putting all the narratives in place, like what I just shared with you. If everyone starts putting the narrative in place, then the story of how Bhagavan built the Kailasa nation from 1978, the year he assumed the human body. I'm saying 1978, I know I'm talking about age 0, because for an incarnation, his work starts the moment he assumes the human body. There is nothing called a period and then you start some mission, 0. Your mission starts if you're an incarnation from the time you land, because you don't know to do anything else except the avataric mission. So if you study the lives of incarnation, you'll understand what I'm saying. And if you study the life of Bhagavan, and if you interview the people who lived around him when he was age 0, and thereafter till till it became global, you'll understand what I'm saying. Sorry, I interrupted you. Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
I was just wanting to say, place were forcibly displaced. What we went through at that time. As you are listening to this, how do you feel? What is that? What aspect of today's sharing impacted you? And when you think about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, one side getting assassination attempts on his own life, the other side the monastery being burnt to ashes, the other side the sannyasis are displaced, the other side the sannyasis are attacked and raped and whatnot. When all these things are happening, and how Swamiji not just protected himself, the mission, each and being available to each and every one of us, and continuing to contribute, even when you are attacked, even when you are persecuted. When you listen to these, how do you feel? I invite each and every one of our viewers to please leave a comment in the YouTube live chat of the SPH Nithyananda channel. If you're watching the live on YouTube, please come over and share your thoughts as you're listening to the sharing of one of the senior sannyasis of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa, the monastic order of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa, the Kailasa Uniting Nations for Swaminis, the order that Nitya Bhaktikananda Swami belongs to. How do you feel? The displacement of the women of Kailasa, the impact that it would have left on them, yet being available, following the footsteps of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, being available and making themselves available to be a part of this divine mission. How do you feel? Please, I invite each and every one of you to come live and share and put your thoughts in the YouTube live chat, because we just have a few minutes before we enter into the live satsang. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is going to join us. And it is the relentless efforts of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism who has not just protected each and every disciple, showing us that Swamiji is available for us no matter what. He is there taking care of us, protecting us, and being available for us. And today, presenting and compiling this whole cost and presenting it so that once and for all, this attack against Hinduism attack against the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, the attack against Kailasa, an attack against the marginalized sections of the society and the marginalized sections of Hinduism can be protected. The attack can be stopped and we can have the protection and the revival can happen. So please do come and share your comments. Humanity will be grateful to Swamiji. Absolutely, I am. Each and every one of us, if we can just have that, understand what Swamiji has done and doing to humanity, just that is enough to just melt in gratitude at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Swamiji. Thank you. And today, it is our responsibility as Hindus to share this news widely. So if you're watching us live, please use the hashtag recognizes the persecution of SPH Nithyananda and Kailasa and share this news virally with everyone.
Yes, I'd also like to add, first of all, thank you so much, Manitya Bhaktikananda Swami, for joining us and really sharing a heartfelt, something I'm sure even Kailasians across the world who have been seeing the persecution that has been happening for the past decade did not know what was going on, what was happening with inside, what was happening on these really during the nights of emergency right after the attacks in the Adinam. I'd like to add, of course, that it was what we're hearing from your story is one incident, and I absolutely was uplifted and at the same time devastated to hear how much you went through, how much it would have taken to take responsibility, ensure you're made available, ensure that you continue the vows you kept to serve humanity, and you are integrated to your vows to serve humanity, and at the same time also survive all attacks and ensure that you are withstanding the attacks, the fear of being raped, brutally assaulted, even being sexually assaulted in many instances from what you have shared before, and even having no food, no home, no space to even sleep, finding your way. And at the same time, how in all of that, you just held on to Swamiji. And you held on so ferociously that ultimately we are able to come back. I'd like to also explain to the viewers that it's not just one incident. What we heard today from Ma Bhaktika Swami was a heartfelt sharing, really that moved each and every one of us to tears. But in Adinams across India, whether it's Salem, Hosur, in Tiruvannamalai, in so many different cities, while they were searching, hunting literally for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the terrorist militant forces had raided each and every single Adinam, just like they did Adi Kailash, and women, Hindu sannyasis, and even children, Balasans, were kicked out, needed to flee the Adinam, just like Ma Bhaktika Swami, out of fear of their lives and fear of keeping their dignity intact, their basic human dignity. And across India, in all of the Adinams, they were just literally put into the streets, put into more and more vulnerable situations in order to, and pushed to protect themselves in this circumstance. And some of these women were not able to make it back. Some of these women were not even, we don't even know if they are safe still today because of the situations that are happening at that time. Who all over India, thousands were displaced. Thousands of Kailasian women were displaced in a matter of days. And it was not just this incident, it was not just 2010, but also in 2015, in 2017, in 2019, continuously. And Ma Bhaktika Swami, even during the Trishulam attacks, how we had literally been stoned nearly to death. And the entire Adinam destroyed, literally not even able to live in that Adinam, not needing to survive. And somehow we are able to get help to fix the property and fix the whole thing. Perhaps even Ma Bhaktika Swami, if you can share just a little bit for the viewers about the subsequent attacks that have been happening, where women have been displaced, where you yourself have seen in Pavlakundru and also in Trishulam, and even perhaps in YSJP, and how each and every time the women and children of the ASMT, when the terrorists attack and they raid the Adinams, they look out for, first of all, to kill the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and also to do their way, entirely steal the dignity of all the women every single year. We'll now be continuing this segment. We're continuing the sharings from Ma Bhaktika Swami, and even interacting with some of you, some of the viewers who are commenting right now. We will just be right back with you after a very quick break.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Enormous support at this time. We have many of our YouTube viewers who have shared, listening to the sharing. We have Vikram saying, the fire of chaste Hindu women. Thank you, Vikramji. We have Dr. Shanti saying, I'm completely amazed at the enormous tyaga and enriching dimensions that Bhagavan himself is living and transmitted successfully to all the sannyasis. Bowing down in deep gratitude at the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We have Vikram, you, who's saying, I'm currently now in Adi Kailash COVID care, eating the royal food, which is a blessing of you mothers. And we have Ananda Bharati, who's saying, no words to express the gratitude of Swamiji and his Sangha all through these years with Tyagaraja, blessing us, bearing all the false abusers and tortures. Swamiji and his sannyasis and his devotees have emerged now with triumph, and feeling the truth will one day, and the truth will win. I bow down to all the female sannyasis and the devotees who stood strong for the truth and Hinduism, along with Paramashiva, encountering so much persecution, that too all baseless persecution. We have Ma Chitrabhanu sharing, the sheer courage the sannyasis have shown is amazing and superb. The devotion and determination to support and defend their guru is admirable. Thank you so much, Ma Chitrabhanu Ma. We have Anne-Marie Casa saying, I just feel like living as highly, as strongly, as deeply as you did, and follow Swamiji till the end. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. And there are so many more comments that are flooding YouTube and Facebook, but just in the interest of time, it is time for us to get ready to receive the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Thank you, everyone, for supporting us. Thank you, everyone, for standing by Kailasa. Thank you, everyone, for offering your deepest gratitude at the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Thank you for being there and supporting the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa. And if I can just share one thing before we enter into the meditation, share this news virally. Share the post on the FB, the Facebook page of the SPH Nithyananda Parameshwaram Facebook page. Share the tweets with the hashtag UN recognizes persecution of SPH Nithyananda and Kailasa. It is important that we, as the disciples, followers of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and as Kailasians, share this virally with the world. Let the world know what the anti-Hindu elements and the neo-Hindutva elements did to Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And it is a responsibility of us to let the world know how the Supreme Pontiff continued to contribute, even amidst this relentless, brutal persecution of the Supreme Pontiff. With that, it's time for us to enter into the meditation. I invite each and every one of you to please sit straight and close your eyes. Just look in and think about all that Supreme Pontiff has done to each and every one of us. How much he has made himself available in spite of this persecution. How much he has been available for each and every one of us in spite of his forced exile. How much the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has attended to each and every one of us individually. How he has been the spiritual strength of all of us amidst this persecution and attack. And how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is continuing to contribute to humanity with wisdom. Just remember all the contributions of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And remember your deep feeling connection with your beloved Guru. As we get ready for yet another darshan and satsang. Visualizing Swamiji in your Ananda Ganga. Intensely chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Intensely connect with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Let your whole body just melt, remembering and experiencing the gratitude for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Let every cell in your body feel the gratitude. Offer the gratitude. Let every cell in the body offer the gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is standing to revive Lhasa, who is standing strong to revive the enlightened civilizational nation and the territorial nation Kailasa, so that we are never displaced, so that we as Hindus never need to be displaced again. Intensely chant the Mahavakya, offering your deepest gratitude at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Swamiji. Om Nithyananda Satsang. Intensely chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda. Let your heart smelt, let your eyes flow, let your being completely soak in the space of gratitude, devotion, surrender. Intensely chant the Mahavakya. Let your whole being reverberate with the chant of the Maha. Om Nithyananda. Continue to chant the Mahamantra. Just remember all the times Supreme Pontiff has been with you, guiding you through thick and thin, being available to you, protecting you, taking care of you, guiding you, healing you. Just remember each and every moment. Hence, chant Mahamantra. Om Nithyananda Just remember to experience the deep, powerful presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Remember how blessed we feel having Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in our lives, taking care of us, protecting us. Just having the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as our Guru, the biggest treasure, the biggest jackpot, the biggest lottery that we have in our life.
Nithyananda Paramashivo Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Ananda Paramashivoham Paramashivoham Om Ananda Paramaham Om Nithyananda Paramaham Om Paramaham Om Nithyananda Paramaham Paramaham Nithyananda Paramaham
Buddha दुष्ट धुना दयाल बालके नमो नित्याय इष्ट वस्तु मुख्य दान तवे नमो नित्याय वृषेन्द्र तवे नमो नित्याय आपदत्रिणे नमो नित्याय तवे नमो नित्याय तवे नमो नित्याय कामनैकतान कृद्दुरा साक्षिपाल वेदसे नमो नित्याय सभासिने नमो नित्याय भाषिणे नमो नित्याय सूनबाण कृत्कृष्णान नमो नित्याय देवता गणातिशाय पूर्वदेवनाश एक दोष नित्याय
नित्यानन्देश्वर परमशिवसमारम्भाम् मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् welcome all of you with my love and respects. Welcome all of my love and blessings. Sage directly from Kailasa. Listen. Divya Sarira, body indestructible, intelligence, which is inside all of as a Divya Sarira. Whenever you think you are demon, whatever you think, thing on what need to be negated makes you very depressed. Even what need to be gained. Listen. Seen 40 years of my Chaturmasya. Please understand. Sattvic energy intense sattvic energy sarira. The whole purpose of Chaturmasya is that only. These 4 months focused on that. The You are an enlightened. Self-effulgent, Divya Sarira. Suffer. Whatever. I don't want to get into the strengthen. Describe how to strengthen effulgent. All of us have. Shiva, the state of Paramashiva, space of Param is the message this truth. Many people are asking me, Sannyasinis and whole Kailasa and Sangha is explaining all the persecution. Yesterday or last few days, and when you come for satsang, means what I am what they are saying. Both are not. Many people are questioning me. Please understand. They are talking about what unconscious human beings have done to us. I am talking about what Kailasa for as I said, the ground zero, where deaths are made, where the consciousness decisions about the existence. I am straight coming from that space. Straight, I am from that space now. So I am sharing what Maha you all. gifts are telling in the pre-satsang hosting, it is true. Sannyasis have been attacked. My Sangha has been attacked. It is true. They are telling what the unconscious humanity has given to us. See, share three things with you all. First, what I need to give to the humanity. Gifts from Kailasa. The signs of enlightenment, the signs of power manifestation, the signs of becoming conscious beings. This is the essence of why life happened on planet Earth. Why living beings happened on planet Earth. My purpose is to give superconscious breakthrough for which living beings have happened on planet Earth. All the gifts, I have so much to give it to all of you. And I tell you, this Aushadha science, thoughts can be used to program plants, herbs. I have already proved this not only through me, through my Gurukul Balasans. My Balasans can talk to any rose plant for 10 days without touching the rose plant, make that rose plant drop all their thorns, not one. Under CCTV camera, all my kids do is they go and sit and talk to those plants, relate with those plants, give them the love, feeling secured, energy and consciousness. Those plants just drop the thorns. Multiple times, thousands of times, through many, in many of my ashrams, and still I can prove, I can demonstrate even now. It's the science. And now I want to tell you the next level. Any disease, the cure needed for the disease, energy which need to be inserted into your body can be programmed into any herb, and that herb you will be healed. It's a science. It's a greater science. This science is learned this are together one being, because actually one being a beautiful photograph of Yogi personally applying an aushadha, back. Any to the continuous few generations of brainwashing, of your own body aids. Mental setup has been infused. Consciousness has been, unfortunately, due and making sure all this knowledge available to common Hindus. Made to like a myth, fake stories, legend, or maybe long before it is not there or it is not possible to revive. All these kind of trying to establish, revive the science is beaten black and blue and destroyed. See, unfortunately, understanding about this collective integrity, see, need to stay integrated. It can be or the cleaning staff, equipments fixed in the machineries, and all human beings. All of them need to be integrated for the ship to stay afloat. Main supervisor cannot say, I have done my job. but the cleaning staff is not doing his job. What can I do? Anyhow, if the ship sinks, I will not be blamed, because maintenance engineer thinks when the ship sinks, he is also going to die. See the photograph of my Guru Raghupati Yogi applying Aushadha on a patient. He had a stroke and some problem in his spine. Healed him completely. I've seen the Raghupati Yogi's love and compassion. Let me ship to stay afloat and reach the place where it need to reach. Need to be integrated. Active integrity. A maintenance engineer cannot. But the fuel manager is not doing his job, or the cleaning person is not doing his job. Whatever happens, whatever others do, this is exactly done by the Hindus. In the modern day, everyone says, oh, I have tried my best, I have done my best. But others are not doing. What can I do? As a say narrate, whether it comes to reclaiming the political legitimacy, please understand, any Hindu under this is a definition. How the you are a slave. Constitution and Hindu not living. If Veda Agamas are the constitution and Manusmriti openly, you are a free Hindu. You are a Hindu. Anyone living anywhere where the Veda jurisprudence. You are a slave. At least realize it. Wake up to the truth, reality. What about it? So whether you ask the Hindus, why are you living? Why you don't have a religious freedom? Why your temples are not Indian medical institutions? Constant threat. Is a perfect Hindu medicine is kept in pure form agendas of the church with the Brahman Why? Hindu my job engineer, I will make sure the fuel manager does his job as a cleaning person. Need that kind of a ecosystem for Hinduism to be revived. I decided very clearly in a place eternity. With the grace of Paramashiva, I got a place. Maybe political legitimacy and political this collective integrity spends time for his job Adinavasis who are still there, Kailasa or in our ashram, or some even many of them are highly integrated. In this vision, signs of collective integrity. Uh, you may individually integrated people missed this truth. Collective integrity. You may not be blamed because you have been integrated. Your job, life, both. Have been beaten too long. Only the captain has to be responsible for the collective. Integrity, political sovereignty. All the gods and goddesses of Kailasa, Bhuma Devi, place for Kailasa with the place. I cannot waste time now. I Divyana. I don't need. I will never. I will not even repent 1 second. Oh, I gave my kidney to Swamiji. This individuality will not be enough. Need integrity. Who gave their life to me, not just their wealth. They will even give a body organ to me if I need. If I need a kidney, many people apply to donate. Highly integrated, dedicated. Unfortunately, none of the collective integrity which is needed. Every wrong. They know for sure giving everything to Swamiji is the ultimate right best thing. I told, if I take a kidney from Mahaprana Priya for me, or think, or she will not even have a second thought. Did I do right or wrong by giving my kidney to Swamiji? Ever. Highly. Unfortunate. Just the individual integrity is not that is required. To give her kidney to me, she will not even have a second thought. But she cannot go for round for the campus and make everyone work and keep everyone's integrity. Because she doesn't understand that keeps the ship stay afloat. Same way Saras Murugai. She will work 24/7 for me. I am integrated. captain's responsibility in making collective integrity happen. Team enjoys the other side being, see how we are victorious now, they are failing, and that side of the ship such big holes are happening. Hey, if the water comes in and the ship sinks, all of you are going to die. Why don't you understand? Lack this understanding. Well, whether, see, a major 100, all the income and the all the dedicated and donated for Hinduism by their ancestors is not used for that state or any one country. And I don't interfere in, I am talking to Hindus to wake up. Wherever you are suffering slavery, you need to understand. Into arts, into medicine, spiritual truths, the wealth is not. Whether their religious worship places in their control, as the agamas, their religious scriptures, organizations or religious wealth under them, you ask any question, any problem, gurus are left, right, center. The Hindu organizations are collapsed. Defending the see, Hindu gurus Hinduism. Please understand the elements, their goal, their aim is Hinduism. Because the Hindu gurus are defending Hinduism and promoting Hinduism, they are being attacked. And Hindus are not waking up to this truth. You ask any lead in the organizations are anti-Hindu, racist, problems, and as are we need people in the team. If ability, things to do all the great you are by the Parama rupa. Right. My first and foremost responsibility responsibility, and this second work making them integrate the most I have best self respect all the people me collect integrity impression in every room. We should put a small board, beautiful visual in department distributing money and healthy afloat will simply obey. But complete vote, collect clear think. All our every hall, every even the devotees house people with others. Is Hindus aware cheat Those are not even realizing string go and see the and respect. First response. Body with your mind, your consciousness. And these few principles. Which I am going to share. Viewers Sattvic means the I feel actually this withdrawal my such an extraordinary experience and anything infused experience in you is sattva. Good food, food is sattva, sattva is the many questions now alive. The collective integrity. Intention, whether it is Adi Kailasa or Salem or Biddi or Thiruvannamalai who lives in my naturally, they have declared their individual integrity to me. Others are also working for collective integrity. So let me also, we need few people who are sincerely working for integrity in life. Collective integrity keeps the boat afloat, keep the ship. To come to collective integrity, constantly to everyone, inspiring everyone, educating the ship afloat. Bhushanana, I know you are integrated to me individually, but you need to work the real leader. There is a person just individual integrate. Many people who will just be others, ask others, work with others, and make others also integrated. All the questions, live questions. One is asking, how can we make the collective integrity happen? Actually, there is a manual for it. You need to start working with completion with we have a clear process reality that used to be the syllabus for inner awakening fourth level. We had inner awakening level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, where everyone's vision so that should become the ecosystem, the collective integrity, Kailasa. Maybe all think about community as the ecosystem will be successful and see, when a collective to have collective integrity brings collective integrity. That's what I am doing. How much I am attacked, abused from externally and even from internally, how but super determinism to keep the collective integrity, that Kailasa happen. Please make Kailasa stay afloat and successful. Sadas on this and bring all your questions tomorrow. Satsang live. The next live the Parashakti readings. Soon. So with this, let's all work on this collective integrity. Let's all with collective integrity also. Integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Paramatma Dvaitam. The Shuddhat powers, being, superconsciousness, and Kailasa of Paramashiva. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. The eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.
श्री कैलासो पीठारूढ़ श्री मीनाक्षि सुंदरेश्वरा भिन्न स्वरूप परशिवपुत्र रत्न कुमार गुरुमण्यतुल्यावतार श्री पार्वती स्तन्यपान लब्ध दिव्य ज्ञान विश्रुत सकल निगमागम सारभूत द्राविड वेद प्रवक्त्रे श्री परमशिव करुणा समधिगत मुक्तामय चतुरश्रयान गीयमान छत्र चामर श्री चिन्ह काहलादि समस्त बिरदावल्यलंकृत ज्ञान विज्ञान चक्रवर्ती सर्वजन संघ सद्यो निर्वाण दीक्षा व्ययापवर्ग वर्ष विश्राण जीमूत परमत कलभ केसरी शैव सिद्धांत स्थापनाचार्य श्री राजाधिराज पांड्य महाराज गुरु क्षपण शाक्यादि महांधकार निवारण ज्ञान भानु वीक्षणानर्हार्ह ध्वजोच्छेदन पूर्वक श्रीमद्वृषभध्वज स्थापक शैव समय कर्त्रे सर्वज्ञपीठारूढ श्रीजगद्गुरु श्रीज्ञानसम्बन्धदेशिकस्वामि वागीशसुन्दरमाणिक्यवाचकस्वामिनाम् अवतारभूत श्रीज्ञानसम्बन्धस्वामि पुनरुद्धृत श्यामलापीठ सर्वज्ञपीठ त्रिनवत्युत्तरद्विशततम गुरुमहासन्निधान अरुणाचल सर्वज्ञपीठ गुरुमहासन्निधान कैलास परम्परागत काञ्ची कैलास सर्वज्ञपीठ त्रयस्त्रिंशदुत्तरद्विशततम गुरुमहासन्निधान नित्योत्सव नित्यम कल्याण नित्यरजित कैलास परम्परागत आदि कैलास नित्यानन्दपीठ महा साक्षात् श्री परमशिव समुद्भूत कैलास परम्परागत वैवस्वतमनु इक्ष्वाकु हरिश्चन्द्र भगीरथ श्रीरामचन्द्र शूरसेन इत्यादि अनवच्छिन्न सार्वभौम चक्रवर्ति परम्परागत चतुष्षष्टि योगिनी मण्डित चतुष्षष्टि सम्प्रदाय प्रवर्तक मनुधर्म शासन सूर्यवंश सर्वज्ञपीठ सुराङ्गी साम्राज्य मूर्धाभिषिक्त चूडामणे साक्षात् श्री परमशिव समुद्भूत कपिल महागुरुपीठ अष्टोत्तर सहस्र श्री महामण्डलेश्वर साक्षात् श्री परमशिव गणनायक श्री महागणपति त्रयोविंश गुरुमहासन्निधान कैलास परम्परागत आदिपीठ सर्वज्ञपीठ जगद्गुरो श्रीकैलास पुनरुद्धारक श्रीकैलास परमाचार्य श्रीमत्परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य वर्य सच्चिदानन्द प्रणव स्वरूप श्रोत्रिय ब्रह्मनिष्ठ श्रीमज्जगद्गुरु श्रील श्री भगवच्छ्री नित्यानन्द परमशिव श्री ज्ञानसम्बन्ध देशिक परमाचार्य स्वामिन् अत्रागत्य परिपाल्य च अस्मान् विज्ञान वितरणेन विजयी भव जय जय।